Hi guys, I'm Shmee and welcome back to the next stage of the Where's Shmee Euro Tour. So it's hard to believe we've already been going for 7 or 8 days doing these daily vlogs as I make my way around Europe. We're still in Germany, early stages, driving in the Ferrari FF of course, but today I'm visiting somewhere new, a place I've never previously been. This is Arden. Arden work on Jaguars, Land Rovers, Range Rovers of course, and we're hopefully going to be taking a look at one of each later today. But this is a new stop for me. The weather today, a bit sunny, still quite windy though, so you'll have to bear with me on that front. But the tour's going really rather well, and I'm quite excited about visiting somewhere brand new. So let's go inside, take a look around, and hopefully we'll be able to take a look at some cars in a little bit more detail later on. Alrighty, so I can tell you immediately the two cars that I'm going to be looking at today are right in front of us. The first is the AJ23, Arden Jaguar 23 F-Type R, 650 PS, but I'll get to that in a little bit more detail. And then next up is the AR9 Range Rover Sport V8 supercharged. So those are the two cars that I'll feature in a little bit more detail. But first, let's have a little wander around here so I can tell you a little bit more about Arden. So the company was founded in the 70s. But in the 80s, this was the first major project. It had been running as a sort of workshop, creating more reliable parts for Jaguars of the time. But this was one of the early sort of projects creating a station wagon on the XJS in the late 80s, early 90s, with totally new parts as well, new exhaust system, new lower skirts, front and rear, and of course, a hatchback, which is actually a shape that quite clearly appeals to me. The 3-door hatch is exactly what I have out there and what I'm doing this tour in. And then we've got the 6 here as well. So the naming system AJ started with AJ1, went up through the numbers. So here we have the AJ20 XKR through to the AJ23, the newest car. Arden also moved into Range Rovers, and in particular, cars like this, second-gen car, which are security cars. So, of course, rather solid, and totally new interiors as well. And this has led them through today to creating cars like these ones. So tuning and cosmetic modifications, of course. In particular, this one, the 5-litre supercharged V8 F-Type R. This is a rear-wheel drive car, and in this, well, I'll get to the engine actually shortly, is quite a lot of power, but let's take a look around first at the modifications to the exterior. We've got new carbon fibre parts through the centre, the lower skirt and the side parts too, the new grille, the new steel grille, stainless grille with the Arden badge, and this is quite cool. The Jaguar flying out of the bonnet. New wheels, 21-inch 3-piece forged wheels, aerodynamic parts on the side skirt, the lip spoiler across the rear, and a new exhaust system. And I haven't heard it, but I'd be willing to bet this sounds insane. The F-Type R sounds good from the word go. So this is inevitably even better. Let's unlock it. I'll show you the interior quickly. A couple of modifications to the inside, namely the red carbon fibre trim here around the central display stack, and new Arden pedals down there too. Now if I come down and open the bonnet, which is there, I can show you in the engine bay, which if you didn't know opens that way on an F-Type. So the extra power, of course, comes from an ECU tune, but also new forged pistons to get 100 horsepower more, taking the V8 up from 550 to 650. So this is clearly quite an awesome little car. I'm rather looking forward to jumping in and going for a drive, but I suppose first it's going to need to be started up and moved towards the outside. That was quite a cold start. The exhaust on there sounds pretty good. I don't think I mentioned before, the red pinstriping around the diffuser lip in the centre. We will take the car out into daylight. Go for first a short passenger ride, and then I will be able to drive it afterwards. But that sounds awesome. What a lovely sounding engine and exhaust system in that car. While we're just cruising along the Autobahn, the exhaust system here is hooked up to the built-in switch. So listen to the noise as I turn on or turn off the valves. At just 1500 RPM, that already gets so much louder. Quiet mode. Loud. That's quite a sound, and like I said, just 1500 RPM as well. Here we are then, back at the wheel of the Jaguar F-Type R. Now, it's not the first time I've driven one. I've previously been out, of course, in the F-Type R on the Mille Miglia. I joined the Jaguar Heritage team there, so I had about 1,000 miles at the wheel of the F-Type R. And then I also drove one with Jaguar USA when I was out in California a year and a bit ago. So I've had some good miles in the F-Type R, and I've also driven the V6S a lot as well. And it's a car, obviously, I enjoy a lot, and it's very, very popular. I've not, of course, driven one, though, with 650 horsepower, 100 more than standard, and with the noise that we're going to be hearing from this car. So I'm going to immediately open up those exhaust valves again and get the full soundtrack from it. Okay, it's quite noisy. Let's pop it in sport mode just to keep the gearbox a little bit low. Actually, let's go manual just because it sounds even better. Now we've got the 8-speed ZF box, which is truly, truly brilliant. And we've got a lot of noise. So we're going to turn straight onto the Autobahn here. Don't really need many words about the noise from this. Listen to it. Lift off in the Jags is always amazing. You get so much sort of overrun, burble, banging, cracking, popping, just insane noise going on behind you. And obviously with this, you've got the same and a little bit more. The sound is unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And there's certainly a lot of power available on tap. I mean, it's an interesting comparison actually in here. We worked out that 650 horsepower, very similar weight, of course, to the FF, 660 horsepower, so we're basically on the same sorts of numbers. It's just opening some space ahead of us on the de-restricted autobahns. In the meantime, of course, no bad thing, because we're listening to the pops and bangs going away behind us. Goes and goes. What a sound! We go again. There is no question that there is a lot of power available on tap. That was well over 200 there. Numbers guys, 200, 210, 220, 230. Got a bit of traffic those days, so of course you have to be quite careful. But there's no question there's a lot of power in here. Obviously, very firm ride with the big wheels. It's the price you pay for the visual side of things. But this is quite a lot of fun. Not gonna lie. Bang bang. Do you think that would ever get boring listening to the sound of the F-Type R? I definitely don't. I could just deal with that all day. This will just lift off. Let it pop and bang away. Just listen to the thing, and then you can go again. Now, I suppose for interest's sake, I should make it a bit quieter just to see what it's like. And I mean, there we've got no drone. Obviously, it's much quieter. 5th gear at the moment. We could go all the way up to 8th. 10,000 revs in fourth gear. It's quite pleasant, and I think that's what you need, especially on a very loud exhaust system, being able to have that valve control and enjoy the car. But if I go back into a normal driving mode, just a little bit more of a cruise, just to see what the car's like, and sort of reverts to normality, I suppose. We've got a more comfortable ride, and yeah, completely fine. But enough of that. Dynamic mode, sport. I should go manual, really. Yeah. All smiles. Even more smiles. The bangs as we go under a bridge. Amazing. Back from the little drive, and it would be wrong not to do a little sound check. So let's see how this sounds. Oh my god. That is an awesome exhaust noise. The sound of that car. That's phenomenal. Wow, right. We're going to put this back in the showroom, and then I'm going to show you around the Range Rover. So pop this away. Alrighty, well, it was a little bit busy out on the Autobahn to go too quickly, but there's no question that has a lot of go and an awesome soundtrack to it, and it looks pretty cool too. But we're also going to take a look now at this, the Arden, AR9, the Range Rover Sport, the 5-litre V8 supercharged engine, of course, actually the same engine as the F-Type R, so modifications can also be the same to it here. It's painted in Arden red, but let me show you around and we'll talk about what's been changed. It's obviously got their full wide body conversion kit that you can see, especially around the arches, and a whole new look to the front end, new running lights, the carbon front grille with the Arden badging, new mesh, and sort of everything's new, effectively. 22-inch wheels. Again, the forged three-piece, so they can be painted in different colours, different setups. As we come down the side, again, the wide body arches around the rear, and a new look to the back as well, with a new exhaust system and the AR9 badging too. If I grab the key, unlock the car, I can show you the interior. Now, the interior has been completely reworked. Similarly to the F-Type, it's got the custom red carbon fibre inlays. They go with the red leather as well, that's been placed around the seats. We've also got a mixture of different materials here, and I quite like this, the stitched leather down in the footwell. We've also got the red carbon throughout the centre console too, and the Arden badging there on the armrest. Oh, and red carbon on the steering wheel. That's actually really nice. So the interior package is actually quite lovely in here. Carries all the way through to the rear as well. Full package to the Arden AR9 on the Range Rover. And the colour is lovely on that. So yes, it's been a pretty good visit here. Enjoyed taking the F-Type R out for the drive there. And I think the big thing has to go to its noise, which just sounds fabulous. But I'm actually now going to head back on the road in the FF, and today's destination, rather unusually, is London. So I'm heading back to London in the FF. Be a quick documentary of the journey, I suppose. Fingers crossed it doesn't go too complicatedly, like the journey out. It's about 6 hours on the road, and the FF's going to stay in London, and I'll be coming back to Europe in a few days in a different car. I'll explain a little bit more about that later. For now, I'm going to jump back in the FF and get on the road, find some lunch, and make my way towards the Eurotunnel. Major fast forward. I'm at the Eurotunnel. I realised I actually crossed through quite a few countries today, because obviously it's Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, France, and then the UK. So 5 countries in a day. We're here at the Eurotunnel. I got here a little bit early. That means I get to board an earlier train. I actually think it's time to go and actually board the train right now, which is even better. That means I can do this. As usual, high vehicle section with the car. That's going to make it easy to drive in. And, this chap's missing his train. And off we go. We will board the train. There we go. This is always good. This is what we like to see ahead of time. The train's not for another 20 minutes. And we're heading round, and I'm going to be on it. I'm back to England. Not too late this evening. It's actually been a completely flawless journey. Barely, well, quite a lot of lorries, trucks, things that just take up, make it take a little bit longer, but nothing really, no traffic jams, no dramas. Easy, basically. And this is all so familiar, because I do this all of the time. They're actually still unloading the train from the previous group, clearly. But we shall come down here. Some nice burbles there. Sit in this traffic for a tiny bit, and then I will be able to head through and board the train. So, fun thing, come to a stop. Here, stop and start. I just find that so funny, having a B12 that stops and starts. Actually, you can tell coming out of Germany wasn't too crazy, because I only got to 175 kilometers per hour. But this is actually kind of interesting. On this tank, I've done 454 kilometers. The range has gone down to 53 because obviously sitting here at the Eurotunnel, I've been sitting in traffic and stuff. But I was on target for a 600 kilometer range out of a single tank, which is quite nice. Anyway, I will board the train and get on the way to England. We have arrived in England then, and I've already put my speedometer into miles and the clock obviously back onto English time. Now it's time to drive out back into what actually looks out there like quite a nice evening in England. Not that you can see very much of that at all. Straight back to London. Fast forward again, and I'm back home. I've had the car washed. It's already back in the garage. All is set and clean and lovely. And Seb is here with his very noisy Lotus that we're going to hear in a second. Well, that was a peculiar noise. Peculiar noise, yes. Seb's car's not very happy with him, but he's taking it out for a drive, so he's going off. Yeah, so it's been a good trip back. Not very much to report on. Now this is where things get interesting. We've got a quick turnaround thing going on, which will be my next video, so stay tuned for that, where I'll explain a lot more about what this is all about. But that was a pretty fun trip to Arden, obviously seeing and driving the F-Type R, AJ23. He's on his way out. Do it discreetly, Sebastian.
Going slowly. See ya.
So yeah, I'll wrap it up there, guys. Thank you very much for watching, of course. Make sure you stay tuned for the rest of the Wes Shmee Euro Tour 2016. I'll catch up with you again later. Cheers. Okay, so here we go. P1 time. Got the lift system up already. That's going to make it easy to get. If Porsche offered me a GT3 RS, I would not take a second to think about buying one. Let's jump in.